Hello, it is Cherry. I'm doing Cherry Rants About Shit, episode 2. This is my podcast. If you haven't seen the first one is me going on Reddit and reading Am I the Asshole? Posts, and I found it hilarious. Some of them were funny, some of them were cool. I enjoyed very much. This time, we're going to be talking about university. Because, if you didn't know, I'm a university student. I go to university in the United Kingdom. That's where I'm from. I'm a British man. I didn't go overseas or anything for university. I decided I wanted to stay in my own country. That's one thing. If you're thinking about going to university, it is important to think, what would it be like if I do go to a different country for a year or full-on university course? Will the language barrier be too hard? Will the cost be too difficult, etc.? You have to think about all of this. If you don't, it won't be... It may not be fun for you, or you may not like it, then you'll have to change it. You have to think about it, where you want to go. And I would recommend that if you're going somewhere in your own country, go and actually having a look. When they do open days, they do it in here in the United Kingdom. Open days are very important. The university I am at now, I went to an open day to have a look. They were really nice. We had a look around. We looked at accommodations on campus, etc. It was honestly one of the best decisions, because seeing where I would live and be around and the buildings and how safe I feel is the most important part to me. Safety is a giant part. We're going to talk about that in a minute. University as a whole is very fun. There's lots of different things, lots of different stereotypes. People are saying university is too hard, university is all about work, university is all about fun. Different people have different opinions. Some people just go to university for the fun and the drinking side of it, and then leave after a few months. And then there's the ones that go mainly for work and actually trying to get their degree, which is it should be the main reason why you are going to university, to get a degree in something you enjoy, which I have. I do marine biology. I'm officially on my first year of marine biology course, going into my second year in September. Going back to the safety part. Safety is an incredibly important thing when looking for a university, especially if you are moving away from home to live by yourself or in a flat with some friends, etc. If you don't feel safe, then your university that university might not be the one for you, and that's fine. If you change and go somewhere else, that's perfectly fine. If you decide that halfway through a year you don't feel safe in one university and you want to find a different university, that's completely fine and valid. I was lucky in the fact that I went to this university first, and I was like, I feel safe here. It's the only place I went to. It was close-ish to home, but far enough that I could still feel independent. I've always felt independent. My parents have been very they let me do basically what I wanted, but also with some rules. I've always been quite independent, so going to university wasn't too hard. Just trying to figure out how to budget, get food, what I should make for food, etc. Time management. College and high school has helped with time management, with studying and stuff. University, it is a bit harder because you have to fully understand that you're going to have chores, you're going to have go get food, etc. You have to go to lectures, you have to actually take time to study, to do your assignments, to do anything you need to do in a reasonable timeline so you're not late or whatever. So yeah, the university I go to, I feel incredibly safe to do all this. I can do this and feel safe. I can go to the shop and feel safe, especially because I'm a part of the LGBTQ. And we're going to talk about this for a second. I'm a part of the LGBTQ. I'm a trans man. And feeling safe while being yourself is important. If you don't feel safe as yourself, either a part of the LGBTQ or the colour of your skin or anything, if you don't feel safe in that specific environment, you're probably not going to feel safe the entire time you're at university. So I would strongly do research in the surrounding area, the city, the town, wherever you go to university. I live in a city, and the city I go to, the city centre and my university, I feel incredibly safe. They have LGBTQ phone boxes, which are like the different flags. They have LGBTQ like pride events. I feel safe. If I go to the north side of the city though, it can be a bit like you can find some more people that would probably be against some of the LGBTQ, which nearly all cities or towns have them people that don't like it. It's just, yeah, but some places are way worse. Some places you don't feel safe, even on campus or in the city centre or anything. I feel completely safe to go outside and just walk, go to city centre, go to my local grocery store, which is literally down the road from the campus. My campus is also out of the way. It's not in the city centre, which makes it so I feel like I can relax and chill, and it's not overly busy outside, which I like. I do like that. But the important thing for me when choosing a university was safety, especially safety because I'm LGBTQ. That was a top priority. After obviously knowing that they do my module, that was my top priority, especially because I was going to live there no matter what. Next part of this is that food's hard, especially when you have a budget. It really depends if you are getting help from parents or family or friends, or if you're just getting it from the government or just savings or a part-time job. Whatever this is, food is important. If you are thinking about, what food should I get? What food should I make for university? Because I only have this much budget. Like, I have £25 a week to get some food, which that's not bad. I am definitely okay with that. I have help from my father at university. I'm incredibly lucky over that. And I would definitely strongly say that pasta is probably one of your best friends, especially when you first start uni and you're trying to figure out different meals to make. If you're like me and didn't really used to cook or can't really cook. I can't really cook much. I don't really know how to cook a lot of stuff. I'm learning more now, especially now that I want to be healthier. But at the time when I went to uni for the first time, I started making pasta. I made big batches, so I would have a few leftovers for the next day or maybe the day after that. I personally have pesto pasta, and each time when I warm it up, I will add something to it, like chicken, if I do have chicken. I have spring onions in it, I have spinach. It's incredibly nice, and you can make big batches that you have some now, you put some in the fridge, you have leftovers. It's fine. Also, if you have mincemeat, you can do a lot with mincemeat. You can put it into wraps, you can put it into pasta, you can do a lot with mincemeat and it'll go quite far. If you want to just put it with some rice to make like a little chili, to spice it up a bit, you can do a lot with that. Make a giant batch of mincemeat and you can use it for many different meals for a few days. So I personally think that's good. I don't go with beef mincemeat because it's expensive, but chicken mincemeat is definitely an option, and I strongly recommend the chicken one over beef. I prefer chicken anyway. If I want to treat myself and actually get some beef to make a proper chili, then yeah, I will. but only if you have the money. This is me mainly talking about budgeting and able to actually make food to a budget. There are some other things like stew. Stew's good. Other corned beef hash, etc. You can just stir fry. There's many things that you can do. A stir fry of a stew, you can make a lot of it and have it leftovers again. We're going to talk about like takeaways and takeout. Because I know a lot of people in uni do get it. It is hard not to get it, especially when you're tired, when you're studying. I would say it's okay if you have the money for it. But with takeaways, I'm going to say this. If you're ordering it from an app, or even if you go into the place, look at deals. Deals are your best friend. And so there's this one deal I get from a takeaway close by to me that is, I get a garlic bread, a biggish circle garlic bread, which is like 10 inches, just over 10 inches. Then I get a margherita pizza for 10 inches, and then I get a doner meat and chips, which I eat the doner meat and chips first because it's large, it's a good size. I eat that, and then I keep the pizza and the garlic bread for leftovers. So then I have some food for the next few days. Or if you just want pizza, and if you want, for example, pizza and chips, get a large pizza. I know your bank account won't like it at the time, but officially you've got food for the next few days then. You can have 2 slices of pizza with anything else you have, officially. So you do have food for the next few days. You're not just spending money on one meal and you're going, I could have used that for many different things. If you get a big pizza or the biggest pizza, as long as you have room for it in the fridge/freezer, you've all set for a few days because you'll have some pizza. So officially, you'll be having takeout or takeaway food for a few days, which I definitely say is better. So deals, larger quantities of pizza, especially because pizza can be left over, and a lot of people, especially in Britain, love leftover pizza. Especially takeaway leftover pizza. It is nice. I started liking it from university. I didn't really eat it before that. I used to be someone that didn't really eat pizza when I was younger, and then a few years ago I started liking it, and then now I actually eat it as leftovers because it's a great thing to get. On the terms of part-time jobs, I do not have a part-time job. I have not had a part-time job while I've been at university because where I am, it's hard to find a job. And for lots of people, it is hard to find a job, so I get that. And I wouldn't, unless you've had jobs in the past and you have a lot of experience, you might not be able to get a job straight away, which is okay. I would just strongly recommend just keep doing it, looking at it every day, etc. But you need to make sure that university comes first, and that you need to, if you get a phone call or an interview, telling them that you go to university and that your schedule changes like every week, or even if it doesn't change every week and it changes every few weeks or whatever, you have to tell them that because that's your top priority. And I would strongly recommend that you do about 10 to 15 hours a week, maybe 10 to 20 hours a week, unless you need more money. But I definitely recommend that because you'll get some extra cash, you'll get some money for food, but then you'll also have all the time for you to socialise, for your me time, it's important to have me time, especially in university when you are stressed. But then also, most importantly, doing the work you need to accomplish, the assignments, the exams, studying. You need to be able to do this. So everything else should be a bit further back because you are there to get your degree. Just don't burn out. I'm going to talk about burning out now. Burning out it's incredibly hard. I have burnt out twice in high school. One time was a full-on reason because of recent events. but another time I just overworked myself when I shouldn't have, and I burnt myself out. That was in my first year of university when I was on foundation year. Foundation year is fun. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Foundation year is fun, but I burnt myself out. I was like, oh, I can do this. So I was doing stuff every day for hours on end, studying for hours, doing assignments until 3 a.m. And then after a week or two, I burnt myself out because I wasn't looking after myself. Food, I wasn't eating food properly. I was eating takeaways, or some people call them takeouts. I just was forgetting to do anything for myself. So exercise, going outside, personal hygiene, it got bad. I burned out. And then after that, I was so exhausted that I just slept for hours. I just laid in bed for days, and I basically made myself ill. And going to university and getting ill is never fun, especially if you do feel so sad that you're actually supposed to be in lectures or doing work and you can't. But you need to look after yourself. You need to take time for yourself. Because of who I am, and I think I may have ADHD, I get distracted a lot. But then once I've hit a need to do work all day, I will do it for all day. And I will exhaust myself. So I have made it so I do daily tasks. I do daily tasks, and then I also sometimes do, on a week, I do a day where I can just chill, a chill day, or a chill evening, or just an evening where I don't do work, or a day where I just go out and have a walk, a longer walk, or whatever. Like, I will schedule that in. Obviously, anything can change, and if my brain goes, oh, I'd rather do this, as long as I'm not doing work on that day, I don't mind. If I get to have a chill time and my brain just goes crazy and I just let it go, oh, I want to play games. 10 minutes later, oh no, I want to play anime. I want to watch anime. And 10 minutes later, oh my god, there's a bird outside. Let's go, run around outside. I will let my brain do that. When doing work, I have to try and shut my brain off, like from that, and go into focus mode, and that takes a lot of energy in itself, and I don't like that takes a lot of energy, because that just makes me more exhausted, and I don't think people realise that. I have had that feeling since high school, but in high school and college I used to think that it was different. I thought it was just normal. I thought it was just something. And finally, I've actually been to the doctors being like, oh, I want to see if I actually do have ADHD, and I would like a diagnosis if I do. So I've actually gone and done that, and I am very proud of myself for that. That's another point, is doctors at university. You need to make sure to find your own doctors, and I would strongly recommend doing it straight away. I waited a few months, and then I got ill, and I didn't have a doctor's in the place, in that city. My doctor's was back home, which would have been so expensive to go home just to go to doctors, especially when I was ill. So I had to find a new doctor's inside of that city and close enough so I could just walk to quickly get checked out because of how shit I felt. So I did that, and I was lucky that I did get in it quite fast, but I would definitely recommend that you don't let your ADHD mind go, oh no, I'll do it later. I don't say you have ADHD, but don't forget, just do it straight away. It's one of your top priorities when you first move into university or into a place in the city where you are going to university at. It is important to do that. Another important thing to do when you first move in is, especially if you have flatmates, in the accommodation, or housemates if you are going into a house share, claiming your bit in the fridge. in the freezer, your drawer, your cupboards. Don't go over the top. I would say 2 cupboards each. Unless you have a really big accommodation or there's only a few of you in the accommodation, like let's say 3 of you or 4 of you, and there's quite a few cupboards, then yeah, maybe more. But with my cupboards, I have 2 cupboards. I have 1 shelf on the fridge, 1 drawer in the freezer, and one drawer above a cupboard. I personally think this is perfect. I keep some food in my room and then some other food that I just use, or most things that I use whenever I go into the kitchen, I keep into cupboards. Especially because if you have a flatmate that's bad and wants to steal, most of your food will be in your room. So I would say keep the important food in your room, the food that you're going to enjoy and like and stuff, and then other stuff like kitchen roll, cleaning stuff, your plates and all that, keep that in the kitchen. But if someone does steal anything, no, that's not good. We're gonna talk about roommates soon. I haven't really had any bad experiences much with anyone, but yeah. I definitely recommend that's the important thing to do when you move into university and you have flatmates. If you don't have flatmates and you're just going straight into university and you've got your own place, that's perfectly fine. Then you can just do what you want. The doctors is important. And if you have any questions, you go to whoever your tutor, personal supervisor, etc. is and ask them. I would definitely recommend doing that straight away. Or if you want to email your teachers, your lecturers, being like, hello, my name is this. What is the curriculum for this semester, for this trimester? And then look at the modules, look at the lectures you're going to be doing. I definitely recommend doing that so you can get ahead and plan what is going to happen, and look at the assignments so you can be prepared for what assignment is going to be coming first, etc. It's important. Flatmates. I have lived in 2 completely different accommodations. I lived both on campus of my university, but one of them was in more of a mid-pricing range, and also I did not have my own bathroom. I had a shared, and I was in a flat of 4. I chose mixed gender because I'm transgender. I did not want to be put with what they would consider my gender, because officially I would have to go with the girls, and I don't like that. So officially, the other side was 2 boys, and my side was supposed to be like 2 girls, but officially it were 3 boys and 1 girl. Or 3 men and 1 woman officially, because we are adults. But in my first year, so the year that I'm talking about, the girl that I was with, as in the girl that her room was next to mine and we shared a toilet/bathroom, she had incredibly bad OCD, which is fine. She told me that straight away, and I had no problem with that. I was like, that's fine. I'm going to keep all my stuff in my room except for my toothbrush and some stuff that we just shared a cupboard in the in the bathroom. It's like it was the mirror, and behind it was some shelves and stuff and storage, so we just shared them for just important little things that we don't want to just take into our room every single second and going back to shower, brushing teeth, going to the toilet, etc. So yeah, she was incredibly picky though. Once I came out of the shower, because of how small it was, I would just put on a baggy top and my underwear, and I would go into my room, set out my wet towel onto my dryer. I would get dressed and just sort out my hair, and then I'd go back to rinse the bottom of the shower because it was so compact with all the stuff I had in there, etc., and the heat. So I would let it cool down. I would open the door, let the heat cool down out of it, and then I would go and I would rinse the bottom of the shower with all the bubbles, etc. on it. And it'd be like 5-10 minutes, 10 minutes at max. And a few times she did go, "Are you gonna clean the thing?" Because we had a group chat, and she said, "Are you gonna clean the bathroom? Are you gonna clean it? Why aren't you cleaning it?" And most of the times she did a deep clean on the bathroom. She was like, "Oh yeah, I've done a deep clean with the bathroom, don't touch it, don't touch the toilet." And I was just there like, "Oh shit, you could have told me," because officially, like, she would tell me mainly before I needed to go and have a shower. Or a lot of the time we would run into each other when we needed to shower, and I was just such like a pushover that I would just wait. Even if I were bursting for a piss, I would just go, "Oh yeah, you can go in," and I'd just be like, "Oh, it's fine." And then I would quickly go have a piss, and then I'd be like, "Oh shit, I can't have a shower, I have lecture in 10 minutes, I can't do it." So I would have to miss out on that, and I would have to go to my lecture with some greasy ass hair, and not greasy ass hair, but greasy hair, and it did not look nice. And that's all me, that's not her. I was a people pleaser. I did say, yes, go ahead. Go ahead, that's fine, that's fine. And also, when we, in the kitchen, she was the one that set the chore list. She did it on the wall because we had chalkboards on the wall, so she drew on that saying a chore list for us all, even though she never really said, "Oh, should we make a chore list to take rubbish out, to clean the sides, etc., all that." And I was fine with it. We all were fine with it when we found out about it, but it was just it was already there before we actually talked about it. And I was fine with what was on there, because kind of just gave each other the roles. We didn't actually discuss it. She just wrote it down and was like, "Oh yeah, Monday you do this, you do that, you do this, this is your chill day," etc. And she was like, "Okay, but I can't do the bins because I can't touch the bins because of my OCD." And I was like, "That's completely fine." And I tried to say, "Oh, I can't do Hoover because of the loud noise. It makes me really, really overwhelmed sometimes. It can be very sensitive to my ears because my ears are quite sensitive, especially when I'm anxious, down, really happy, just anything really. Unless I'm in a perfectly just straight mood, nothing much, I'm not overly happy, I'm not overly sad. If I'm just in an okay mood, I can manage it. But because of the Hoovers they have there, which if you don't know what a Hoover is, it's a vacuum. They have the ones that you pull along the floor, and it's a pain because pulling that, trying to get round stuff, and the loud noise is just, I'm not really good with it. I can't do it. Sometimes I panic. It's not fun. I have tried to do it for my flatmates, and I will do it for my own room. I have to push myself through to do it, and yeah. And I tried to say that to her and was like, "I can't do Hoover," and she was like, "Okay, that's fine." And then after a few weeks, she was like, "Oh, the other two are gone. The other two have gone home for Christmas or whatever," or one of the guys, we never even saw him. He didn't do his chores. He didn't contribute at all. And I will talk about him in a minute. But she said, "Can you Hoover the kitchen?" Because she was busy, and I said, "Oh, I'm not in the best headspace right now. I can't really do it. I'll take the bins out if you can do the hoovering." And she was like, "I can't do it. I'm too busy today." And I said, "Okay, that's fine. I'll see how I feel later or tomorrow, or if you're free tomorrow, you can do it tomorrow." And she was like, "No, because it's stressing me out. When I left, it was stressing me out. It wasn't that bad for me, but she was stressed out, and neither of us could do it. She couldn't do it because she was busy, and I couldn't do it because I would have gone into a meltdown, and that would have been worse, especially because my best friend wouldn't have been able to actually get into my building because she lived in the building next to me. Which some people in here might say, oh, just grow up, just do it, just grow some balls, just do it. I, at the time, physically couldn't. I would have had a meltdown, I would have fallen on the floor, I would have just cried, I wouldn't have been able to mentally, physically, nothing. I just would have cried. Quite literally, I would have cried. But, yeah. That's the main thing I can't really do. Any other chores I would do, I will offer to wash people's plates. I am fine with that. Doing the hoovering, so hard. Not really. I can't really do it. I'm going to do another podcast on my anxiety and why I think I have ADHD. I'm not going to say I do because I'm not diagnosed. I know I have anxiety. I am on medication for it. I have anxiety, but I believe I have ADHD. I'm going to do another podcast video on them, on mental health as a whole, and how I've been dealing with it, and how it is to go get on medication for anxiety. So if you want that, comment that down below. I feel like some people would have some interest in that, but don't take anything I say in that video as advice to properly do, and getting medication will just be my opinion and what it was like for me in the place I am in the United Kingdom. So if you are anywhere else apart from the United Kingdom, it will probably be different, and even places in the UK might be different, but I am going to be doing a podcast episode on that. So, yeah. Next is my other flatmate. So, in about after Christmas in 2023, going into 2024, two of my flatmates had left. The woman that was next to me left, and then the other guy, he was 6 hours away from his home or something, and he left. He was nice. He did most of the chores. He just stuck to himself. He did work. He was nice. He was great. The other guy, though, apparently when two others had moved into our flat, the woman was so nice, and she was with her boyfriend. So she was mainly over at the other side of the flat with her boyfriend in his room, which makes sense. She told me that they would hear him shouting and raging and screaming at games in a different language all night. Couldn't really sleep. Sometimes they would have to knock on the door, and then eventually they would have to bang on the wall to shut him up, because he would do it for hours on end, and we would rarely see him. He would not talk to us much at all. And then we found out that he was stealing from the new roommate, the new woman that came in. She had a box of Rice Krispies, which is a cereal, and she had that on the side, and she said, oh, if you ask me, you can have some, and I was like, that's okay, cool. So I asked if I could have some. She was like, yeah, sure. And she was like, have you been taking it before or like afterwards? When I said yes, and I said no, I've only had it the once. And she said, okay, but I have like half of it gone, or like more like a quarter of it was gone, and she hadn't eaten any of it in a while. Like, it would be 2 weeks and she hadn't eaten any of it, and the last time she knew someone ate something was me, and that was about 2 weeks ago. So she knew it wasn't her boyfriend, I hadn't eaten it, and so she knew that our other flatmate was eating her food. Not so nice to think about, but eventually she put it into her cupboard, that she had. None of us put a padlock onto the cupboard, but you could with them. There was padlock things to actually put it so you could lock it, but she didn't. He still found it and would eat out of it. He would still do that. So eventually she had to move most of her food that wasn't sealed, etc., into her room. And she didn't like that she had to do that because that just caused more space into her room. But yeah, all because he wouldn't eat his own shit. And thing is, earlier when I said that normally you have like 2 cupboards and 1 drawer, there's normally spare cupboards that you normally share, you put cleaning stuff in it, etc. When we were there, the guy that was shouting, you know, the one that was stealing the food, etc., he had 2 normal cupboards and a drawer, but then the 2 other shared cupboards that was above and below the oven, he put all of his stuff in there too. He put like a 24-pack of Spam in there, and I never saw that get open because it was still in the plastic wrap when I left in June of 2024. So I don't know if he ate it or what, but it was never opened, but I saw him put it in there. It was his. And then some other stuff, he had a lot of bread and a lot of canned stuff, but then would still go and eat others' food. I don't really understand that in the slightest, especially because he told me that he could afford to get a big shop, like a lot of big shops every week, etc. He could afford that and then afford to have takeaways and stuff. And I don't think he worked. He was always in lectures or at the flat or hanging out with mates. I don't think he worked. I might be wrong with that. I don't know. But yeah. I was just in complete shock when I saw all that because I was like, oh, there'll be space in here to put this giant box of cereal, because I wanted a giant box of cereal, but it wouldn't fit into my cupboard because of the size of it without moving some of the shelves, and I couldn't do that without having to take out some stuff. So I said, oh, I'm going to put it into this big cupboard that is like a shared thing. I'm sure there's room in there. I opened it. There was not room in there because he had put all of his stuff in there. So I had to leave it in my room, which is fine. I do that now. But yeah, all my flatmates now that I've had since summer of 2024 to currently are way better. They're all so sweet. One of them has just moved out. No, 2 of them have just moved out. My best friend, I've been best friends since high school. She lived in the room opposite my room, and she moved out. And another girl that we never saw. We saw her like 3 times. I never saw her actually do anything. I never saw her in the kitchen much at all, except for when she first moved in about October of last year. Nothing wrong with that. She was just completely different. We were all in our 2nd years of university or 3rd years, whereas she was in her 1st year, so she was more wanting to party and stuff, which is completely fine and valid. She had a cool style, but yeah, that's about it. She made friends. She'd sometimes invite friends over. She was never loud. She never just had prees hours of anything, so it was perfectly fine. But yeah, that's about it. There's nothing wrong, but both of them moved out. 2 others moved in just after Christmas from coming from abroad, which was so fun, and it's nice to actually see different cultures and beliefs and how different things happen in different countries, in their country, and that, it just made me incredibly oh wow, really? Because the only thing you really hear about, unless you talk to someone or know someone from that area or that country, are more stereotypes. So learning that some of the stuff I thought was a bit wrong, I was like, oh, that's cool. I would never say it's facts because I don't know. But if I haven't seen it actually from someone like a friend or a trusted social media person out there, like Markiplier or Alicia or etc., I wouldn't understand it, and I would just be like, okay, I know that's a stereotype, but how far is the stereotype wrong, or how far is the stereotype correct? Like, British people, if you like tea, you normally drink it quite a bit, so that stereotype is correct if you are talking about that some British people that do drink tea drink a lot of it. But there's also the stereotype of all British people like tea and drink a lot of tea. That's not right, that's wrong. There's also waiting in queues. That stereotype is wrong. At least for me it is, because I hate queues. Queues were horrible. I hate queues. So yeah, that's mainly with that. Them two moved in. They're going back in a month or two. One of them is going back right at the end of our contract, which is in July or June, and then the other one's leaving in June, I think. So they're going back home. The two of us do live in England or the UK. Them two, they moved in before me last year, and they're probably going to move out after me. They're the two that I talk to the most, I guess. One of them especially, I do talk to quite a bit, and the last person is me. It is an 8-bedroom flat, but the bedroom next to me was never filled. It is empty, which I'm lucky about because I'm a streamer. I didn't want anyone next to me because I didn't want to be too loud. People can still hear me a little bit, but the only person that can really hear me if they're in their room and I'm in my room streaming is my best friend, who is over the hallway to me. And she was completely fine with it. She's quite loud when she's gaming, so I'm fine with it. It was just a mutual, like, yeah, that can happen. It's fine. Because streaming is it's a passion. I like streaming. I do that in my spare time. I'm also going to do a podcast episode of how I balance my streaming and social media stuff, and also my university work, etc. And that will be fun. I am really excited to do that episode. So there's the mental health episode, there's that episode. I also want to do one on transgender and just LGBTQ and my life and my story with it. So yeah. In general though, university is an incredibly fun thing. I don't really go out drinking a lot because that's what a lot of people think university is. Just going and drinking and doing nothing else but drinking. It's not. It's not. It's not just drinking. Some people do go out drinking a lot. I do not. I go out drinking on special occasions, etc., especially with how I am and my past with alcohol. I will only say that. I'm not going to say anything else about it. But yeah, I do enjoy it very much. It is fun to go out with some mates, like for a mate's birthday. But I normally am inside because I'm exhausted after the day, I'm doing uni work, or I'm having me time. It's important to do that. It's important to be able to go out and socialise, because university friends are normally the friends that you stick with. They are actually genuine. There have been some friends that do still seem like we're in college or high school and I'm no longer friends with them. But most of the friends I have made, it feels like we are actually healthy and not like children anymore, because we are adults, but we don't have a relationship/friendship that seems like a childish relationship, like in high school. Because some people do have that still in university. There's some people that are stupid and they bully, etc. Not a lot, it rarely happens, but yeah. So from the top thing from this video is safety. Safety is definitely the most important part of university and choosing a university, especially if you want to do it nearer to your home or if you want to leave home to be more independent, especially if you are getting away from a household that isn't necessarily for you, either by just being toxic or homophobic or something like that. I am not like that. My home is very good. I came out last year to my parents, and honestly, it's probably one of the best decisions I have ever done. I'm incredibly happy with that. So I'm still got connection. I still talk. I'm still in the lives of my entire family, and I love that. I love that I'm still in their lives. But if you're someone that does want to get away from their home for different reasons, that being one of the reasons, that is completely fine, but make sure you look at where you're going and do your research on LGBTQ. If you're going somewhere in a state, make sure you're going to a state that is good for LGBTQ or other things, so you can feel safe while being at the university. It's hard to do, but yeah. If anyone has any ideas for any other podcast episodes I can do, LGBTQ related, transgender, which is just LGBTQ, but it's a certain topic of just trans. If you want anything else on university that I have missed out, let me know in the comments, and I will do another episode to this, part 2 of university, if I have missed anything or you have any questions about university. If you want to know my story about being transgender or LGBTQ and how I realised and how it's been, and gender dysphoria, euphoria, etc., let me know in the comments if you want that. Please like this video if you want. You don't have to. I just thought I'd add that in. I don't know. I think that's about it for this podcast. I am going to be doing one over mental health. I will do a trigger warning in the front of that. There won't be much triggering stuff. I'll just be talking in detail with my anxiety and why I think I have ADHD, etc. So that's a me thing. But that's about it I'm thinking about doing. If someone wants me to do different topics, let me know. Anything, that's perfectly fine. I will do any topics as long as it's appropriate and I feel like I have something to say on it. But yeah, the next one will be about mental health, my anxiety, etc. Let me know if there's anything else. If you want one on streaming and how I started out as a streamer, etc., that's fine as well. How I manage my time between being a part-time content creator and a full-time student, that as well, I will do that too. There's many different things I can do. Just let me know in the comments down below and I will think about it, and I will let everybody know over on Blue Sky and my Discord servers different things that I have gone, yes, I'm going to be doing this topic one day, or no, I will not be doing this topic because there's not much to talk about, or I don't feel comfortable doing that. But yeah. Thank you so much for watching this. I appreciate it. I hope I didn't go too fast, and I hope that everything I wanted to say did get said in a way that you could understand me. If not, let me know. I can redo it, or I will just add more points to part 2 of this. If I do need to do one, just comment below anything I've missed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next episode, or the next video on my YouTube channel, but also the next episode of Cherry Rants Random Shit. So, bye bye, have a great day, night, evening, whatever time zone it is, and I will see you all later. Bye!